Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Scarlane here bringing you a new Neverwinter video, and today, as the title suggests, we're going to be looking at the Episode 3 Sharandar gear. So we don't exactly know where this gear is going to be coming from. I'm assuming bounties in some way, either drops from the actual bounties, or they're going to put it on the RNG loot table for turning in the bounties, which is a horrible, horrible mistake. The Epic Companion gear is already a disgraceful low drop, so adding more drops to that drop table is just going to make the Companion gear that much harder to get. So we don't exactly know where it's coming from, but you can anticipate that it's probably going to come from bounties, just because I don't think we're getting like a new skirmish or anything, or a new dungeon, you know? So the new tab here is literally the preview collection, so this is going to be Episode 3 gear. This has been out for a while now. This is just the first time I've gotten around to getting the video out to you guys, so a lot of you may have seen this, although you will see some new stuff today. So let's just go ahead through this. Most of this is actually really bad. So the Rain Catcher, when your health's below 50%, your outgoing healing is increased by 15,000. Like, I don't understand why some of these developers think some of these effects would be good. First of all, if you're playing a healing class, you're never going to drop below 50% HP. Maybe once in a blue moon, but I just don't see this being a very valid option for players to use. Like I said, unless you get extremely destroyed in one hit and then you hurry up and heal, you're only going to get that boosted 15,000 outgoing healing for a very brief time. So I don't understand. So we got the Midnight Cow, Fang Shadows. You generate 20% less threat. When you use an encounter power, the next enemy that attacks you takes damage equal to 5% of your max HP. And then it has a 20-second internal cooldown, which just, again, it kills the item. They've used internal cooldown now for a long time in the game. It's nothing new, but it's just not a valid option. Maybe for PvP, but you have to realize that 5% of your max HP is not a lot of damage. Most endgame players, like DPS, most endgame DPS players probably have around 550,000 to about 650,000 HP. So take 5% of that, reflect that back, and a 20-second cooldown. Just don't see it. No one's ever going to use it. And I've been saying this for years now. They really need to stop making items that no one's ever going to use. We need a variety of items. Like, there's always best in slot items that everyone navigates toward, and everyone uses that pattern, right? It's always the meta. You have the bone cage, the bone rib cage, whatever. The tier 3 breastplate. Everyone uses it. So if they would just come up with more useful abilities and give players the option to use different gear instead of just the same stuff over and over again. And it's been like this for years, and it's never going to change. But I just never understood why they would waste so much development time making all these new items that no one is ever going to use. It's just work that has gone to waste when they could have been focused on something else. So that's my rant for this. Because, I mean, all this gear is bad. There might be one piece of valid gear out of all of this new gear. We have the Red Cap's Cap. When you damage or heal your target for more than 10% of your HP in a single blow, your power is increased and your movement is speed. Most people don't need power, right? Most people are getting their power from other sources, and they're not going to sacrifice best in slot helmets right now for this. So again, 3 helmets, obsolete helmets. 4th helmet, we have the Turban of Shifting Sands. Now this was interesting. This is actually a new ability that they just came out with. It's not horrible, but again, I don't see people using this. So when you use a daily power, you pull all the enemies within 25 feet toward you, you gain 5,000 deflect severity, and their accuracy is lowered by negative 2.5% for 6 seconds. And again, 30-second internal cooldown. But for this item in particular, the internal cooldown's not that big of a deal, because you're not going to gain your daily back every 30 seconds anyway. So for an AoE situation, some people might use this just for the crowd control potential. So we have like the chicken artifact that people use for crowd control, We have the Flying Carpet legendary mount that people use for crowd control. Now we actually have a piece of gear that essentially does the same thing. So there are 3 items in the game that will pull all these items together now, right? Or all the mobs together in an AoE situation. You have an artifact that does it, you have a mount that does it, and now you actually have a piece of equipment that does it. So in a crowd control situation, yeah, maybe. Maybe in some niche-related builds, a cleric might put this on, or a tank might put this on, just to, like I said, crowd control and Vault the Stars or something. But not very many people are going to use it, in my opinion. So that's the 4 new helmets. Let's move on to the breastplates. Raindrop Raiment. You gain 1% outgoing healing for each player in your team. When your teammates are 20 feet or closer to you, their forte is increased by 1%. So this is a valid item for the most part. Now, of course, healers. The only person that's going to use this is probably the cleric and the warlock. I don't even see paladins using this, but essentially, you're going to have 5 people in your team. So it's 5% outgoing healing, and then you're going to buff your party by 5% forte, I guess, right? I guess they both stack. It's not just one, or is it only 1% forte? When your teammates are 20% or closer to you, their forte is increased by 1%. So I don't think the forte stacks to 5%. It's just the outgoing healing stacks for you personally 5%, and then your teammates gain 1% forte. Which, again, it's not really that good. 1% forte, I'm not even using forte anymore. So, maybe someone might use it for the outgoing healing, but I don't know. I really don't know. I think most healers are pretty much maxed out on outgoing healing these days. The Midnight Curse. You do 3% more damage to enemies that are not facing you. So again, this has been in the game several times. We've had several iterations of this, and it was never good. It was always broken for the most part. And you're definitely not going to give up your rib cage for this, right? Ribcage is going to be best in slot until something comes along that rivals the ribcage. And right now, this ain't it. Okay? 3% damage, which equates probably to like 1.2% damage. You're not going to give up your statistics that you gain from your ribcage. So, nice job, Cryptic. Can we develop some, items and gear that are actually worthwhile? Because you've been doing it for years. Years. There's always one item in every slot that's usually ahead of the pack, and it becomes the meta. Okay? That needs to stop. I know it's not going to stop, but it infuriates me that these developers don't understand that they probably wasted a month of work putting all this gear together that no one's going to use. It just makes no sense. That focus could have went somewhere else. Fairy Tunic. The old switcheroo. You get 5% accuracy, but you lose 7,500 combat advantage. Again, no one's going to sacrifice their ribcage for this. Okay? No one. No one's going to sacrifice the ribcage for 5% accuracy and you lose negative 7,500 combat advantage. No one. Another useless item. The Wasteland Merc's Leathers has Warder's Defiance on it. Whenever you are damaged for more than 50% of your HP in a single blow, you take 3% less damage for 10 seconds. I mean, we've seen, again, numerous iterations of this ability on different pieces of gear. Some tanks might choose to use it for the damage reduction, the 3%. I doubt it, though, but you never know, I guess. I don't know. So that's the breastplates. Let's look at the arms really quickly here. We got wrist guards of Precipitation. Gain 375 power when you strike an enemy, lose a stack when you are struck, and it stacks 20 times, right? So this is just an upgraded, like, Lion's Guard, right? Lion's Guard has the same effect. You gain stacks of power when you're hitting an enemy, you lose stacks when you get hit. Again, power, not a very important stats these days. Power is very achievable. It's very easy to get 90% power these days. Midnight Grip's Controlling Strike. You gain 1% control bonus when you strike an enemy. Stacks 5 times, so 5% control bonus. When you are struck, the stacks are consumed, and you gain 1% damage per stack. So this is the same effect as like the spiked Defender Van Bracers, where it's damage reduction and damage. Now this one is control bonus and damage. So if and when, I know Nova, I see you out there, brother. Nova, I'm rooting for you, man. I hope control bonus plays an important role in the future of the game. But right now, it doesn't. It doesn't even come close. Every AoE situation in an endgame group destroys everything. There is no controlling anything. The AoE trash mobs in Vault of Stars get demolished with a good group. There is simply no control. And I know they've been pushing all these control bonus items out, right? There's new rings that have control bonus on them from Vault of Stars. We're seeing more equipment coming out with control bonus. So I know Nova is a big advocate and a fan that he wants a control wizard again. He wants his wizard not to be, the main DPS, but to be more of a supportive role with control bonus, with freezing enemies and crowd control and things like that. I don't think it's ever going to happen, to be honest. I honestly do not think control bonus has a place in Neverwinter, and I don't think it's ever going to. Because as long as the groups are slaughtering all the AoE's trash, there's no need for it. Because remember, control bonus doesn't even work on bosses. So the only thing control bonus is good for is AoE crowd control. I just don't see it happening. They keep pushing for it, they keep putting these items out, but they're not giving us content to reflect the item. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to turn like control bonus into some kind of bonus damage. So maybe if you have more control bonus, it'll equate to more damage or something. I don't know. I have no idea what the developers are thinking or what they're doing or what the future holds. They can very easily put out in Mod 21 complete new content where the ads have so much HP that you have to have control bonus that will be freezing them with wizards and stuff and ticking down their damage. Some of the bosses might finally be able to be stunned, held, controlled, etc. I don't know. I really just, I can't fathom them wasting all this development time on control bonus and it being completely useless. So maybe something's coming in the future. I don't know. But right now, whatever. Moving right along. We got, when you use a daily power, you summon a fey creature. Yeah, it's garbage. It's garbage. Anytime any of this gear has something that you summon, it's garbage. And it has a 45-second cooldown. It's poop. It's poop. You would think that the additional damage from a summoned creature would be worthwhile, but it's not. What kills it is the internal cooldown. So you can only proc it every 45 seconds. The damage will be subpar. And to proc it in the first place, you're using a daily power. So if you can get your daily power back every minute, which most classes aren't going to be able to obtain, it's still not worth it. The damage that the creature's going to do is just not going to be worth it. The Scalar Gauntlets. When you strike an enemy, you gain 1% power and awareness, and you lose 5% movement speed for 3 seconds, and it stacks 5 times. Okay? So this is 5% power and awareness. And then I'm guessing you lose, 25% movement speed? I don't know about that. Maybe for tanks, I guess. I would say for tanks, right? Power, awareness. Because the movement speed doesn't really matter if you're a tank. If you're stationary and you're tanking something, it's a stationary mob that doesn't need to be moved or something. But like if you look at the last boss in Vault of the Stars, this is a horrible item. The tank has to move the boss into the portals. So you're not going to want negative 25% movement speed. So again, yeah, garbage. Garbage fire. That's all the gloves. Let's look at the boots. Slips of the Rain. Gain 500 critical strike for each enemy. Nothing new here. We've seen this numerous times, Stacks 15 targets, so yeah, whatever. Midnight Whispers. When you are 15 feet or closer to your target, your defense is increased by 5%. When you're 20% or further away from your target, your crit severity is increased by 5%. So as it sits right now, these boots aren't horrible, but I don't see people using them, right? People are going to use Rusted Iron leggings. They're going to use the new boots from Sharandar. So I just don't see people using these. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Fairy Steps, when not in a party, 10% movement speed. When in a party, 3,500 power. Again, 3,500 power is irrelevant. It's garbage. Keep in mind, this is still all preview stuff, but episode 3 has to be right around the corner. I'm going to guess most of these items are finished products, but they could get some tweaks, right? They can always get adjusted and tweaked. You guys have to keep in mind, we are on preview server. Everything is, of course, subject to change. So, yeah, the Fairy Steps, like 3,500 power? What? Like, what do you mean, 3,500 power? That's just dog shit. We're to a point in the game where 3,500 power is not good. This needs to be like 10,000 power, 15,000 power. And the problem is, like I said, people don't need power to begin with. Finally, in my opinion, the only valid piece of gear out of this complete catastrophe is the Wasteland Wanderers. And this is when you are 15 feet or closer to your target, your combat advantage is increased by 7.5%. So, right now, for instance, I'm using the new boots, the 7,500 raw statistical boots. We'll show you real quick so we can compare. When your stamina is over 75%, your combat advantage is increased by 7,500. So you have to keep that in mind. One is raw statistical value, and the other boots are percent. So there's downsides and there's upsides to both. The percentile one is obviously going to be better, because for starters, obviously, I play a Warlock, and I do Shadow Slip a lot, and I need to maintain stamina, because I need to keep that threshold of 75%, right, is what I'm currently doing. However, these have no stipulations, right, other than being close to your target, which I usually am. Usually I'm right in the middle of everything. So the 7.5% is a percentile value compared to the raw statistics, the ratings that I'm getting, the 7,500 on the boots. So I'm not sure exactly which one I'm going to use, but in my opinion, these boots, literally the only valid piece of gear out of all of this. So, yeah. We don't know where these are coming from. Again, I think they'll be added to the bounties, which is going to suck. If they add them to like the bounties that they drop from the bounties and not the actual quest turn-in, that would be 1,000 times better. But if they simply just add all of these items to the loot table of the turn-ins for the bounties, then yeah, guys, good luck ever getting your companion gear. I mean, the drop rates on the epic companion gear right now from the bounties are absolutely abysmal. So adding this much more loot to that RNG table, yeah, good luck. It's like MEs all over again, essentially. One final thing here. The new lockbox is out. Well, it's not out, but we get a little sneak peek here of what I'm assuming is going to be coming out of the new lockbox for episode 3. So we have the companion here. Yeah, well, I mean, it does say lockboxes. The new lockbox is called the Ensorcelled Lockbox, but the lockbox itself is not on preview yet. However, the mount and the companion is on preview. So the butterfly is going to be the companion. Still have placeholder icons, which, again, that kind of worries me. I thought episode 3 was going to be coming out very soon on PC, but we still are seeing placeholder icons. So, I have no idea. They haven't announced, they haven't said anything about episode 3 yet. I thought it was going to be coming out on PC this week. As of filming this video, I think today's actually June 1st. It's the first week of June, so I thought that episode 3 was going to be released this week. It's not. So, who knows when episode 3 is actually coming to PC, let alone console. So, Butterfly. Obviously, it's a boule, but it's not. It's just not done yet. And this might be changed as well. We don't know. Right now, it has nothing. I guess it's critical. Deflect. I think it's deflect, but maybe it'll be deflect. And then the Butterfly's Grace. 10% chance when you are hit to gain the movement of a butterfly, increasing your deflect severity by 1% for 10 seconds. So, it's probably not complete. I wouldn't count on this being the full effect or what this does, but it is here, and I just wanted to mention it. And also the mount, the new mount skin and the new mount right here, placeholder. It's going to be a griffin, guys. So that's going to be the new Mythic mount, most likely coming out of the lockbox in Episode 3. So it has activating an artifact power, reduces all of your cooldowns, probably placeholder, maybe, I don't know. And then we have Resonating Screech, which looks like a debuff here. Reduce target's outgoing damage by 1%, and then it also increases your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So not horrible. It's not going to increase your raw damage, but it is a debuff, so there's that. And, you know, it looks fine. It's a griffin, I guess. If you like griffins, yay. So this is like a nature griffin, keeping with the theme of Sharandar. So, yeah. There's the preview for Episode 3. I don't know if they're going to change much else. I don't know when it's coming out. Still no announcements. You know, nothing has been said. Hopefully it comes out soon on PC because, you know, we're waiting for it on console. And we usually get it a month later. So we'll have to see what happens. But that's all I got for you today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know most of you have already seen all of that gear, but I did want to show the new companion and the new mount as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. That's all I got for you. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns below. Remember to smash the thumbs up button. Really helps the YouTube algorithm. And I'll see you guys real soon.